What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets Radio. It's Saturday morning. I cannot sleep. I have no idea why. So let's talk Jets. If you like rock music, Light the Torch featuring Howard Jones, formerly of Killswitch Engage, released an album yesterday. It's excellent. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Yesterday the Jets made news by signing Morgan Moses to play right tackle. And immediately following that, there was so much speculation about what does this mean to the Jets offense? How good can the offense be in 2021? And all these, all you saw was hot takes all over Twitter and social media. So if you look at the Jets offense, we could try and find realistic expectations as a team heads into training camp. Now, the first thing is looking at the offensive coordinator. This staff alone is going to be light years different than what we've seen the last couple of years under Adam Gase. You can make an argument that the last 2 years the team was, undercoached, if that's a word, mismanaged, disorganized, just whatever it was. It seemed like they're trying to put square pegs in the round holes. And now you're going to a staff now that has, a quarterback coach, a run game coordinator, a passing game coordinator. They're going to pay a lot of attention to detail, a lot of analytics, trying to maximize the performance of each player, catering the offense to the players instead of trying to forcing the players into an offense. That is going to make this offense light years different than last year. It's going to make it creative, going to make it innovative. It's going to bring the offense back to NFL standards. The Jets seem like they're playing in quicksand the last couple of years. So that alone is going to help and make it fun to watch. How that translates to, stats in the NFL, I honestly have no idea. I think their biggest challenge will be after the first 4 or 5 weeks, once defenses start adjusting to them. Because with a new offense and new quarterback, nobody knows what to expect. So week 1 is going to be a surprise for everybody. But after 3 or 4 weeks, you start having trends. You can start saying, okay, what's their formation? What's their set? What's their go-to play? What's their safety valve play? What's their money play in the red zone? Once defenses start figuring that out, how this staff adjusts to it. So that's going to be a good challenge for them as well. But I think just in terms of play calling and what they're bringing to the table there, I think it's going to be an enormous upgrade. The quarterback position, I think, is going to be interesting too, because you have a kid with a live arm, mobile, can do a lot of good things, high energy, and it seems like all teammates are, buying into him. Now it's up to the coaching staff to put him in spots to succeed. Now, having an improved offensive line will help, having a quality running game will help, and having great receivers is going to help. Now it's just a matter of him making plays and not trying to force things too much, trying to stay in the system and not try to play hero football. And it's hard to do that as a young kid in the New York market with these fans and everybody, pumping you up and stuff like that. But if he stays within his system, I think he'll be just fine. I'm not calling him rookie of the year. I'm not saying any of these things. I just want to see him play well. I want to see him, start out at a certain point in September, and by late December, we see a much improved Zach Wilson. That's my goal. I'm not looking for any of these crazy, outlandish predictions. I just want to see him getting better week in and week out. And the same mistakes he's making in the first quarter of the season, he's not making it the last quarter of the season. That kind of progression I'm hoping for. In terms of backup quarterback, I've been pretty adamant the entire time. I like to have a veteran. I like to have Nick Foles. Everybody keeps asking about RG3. To me, RG3 is not an option because I'd rather have a guy that can actually play football like Nick Foles. But we'll see how the Jets handle that. James Morgan and Mike White, I understand the idea to give them as many reps as possible. But once, I think having a veteran there, if Zach Wilson, God forbid, gets banged up or is struggling, whatever else, you could bring a guy in that can hold the fort down and continue to run your offense at an NFL standard. The running back room is ultra exciting. Tevin Coleman is your veteran leader who still has some burst, who can do a lot of good things. Michael Carter, explosive guy. Ty Johnson's explosive. You have a lot of versatile pieces, a lot of guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield, which is great. Michael Pirine, another good player. We don't really know what he is because he dealt with injuries and a weird offense last year. So there's plenty of competition, a lot of good talent, which serves well because I think the Jets are going to try to run the football a lot. You run the football a lot, you can open up play action pass, which is what they want to do, and then Zach Wilson can flourish. So, explosive guys, you have some power guys. I'm curious to see if a fullback becomes available, if they pick one up, because I think that's kind of a missing piece for them. I know they want to use Trayvon Wesco, but I'd be curious to see what happens there. The biggest piece is the offensive line. And you look at, that was Joe Douglas's biggest goal the entire offseason. And they started off slow and they didn't go after the big names and everybody started panicking. And we're like, listen, it's a long process. You got to wait till, August training camp and see what the final pieces are. And lo and behold, there was some panic, especially after the draft. And then they signed Morgan Moses. So the left side of the line seems to be pretty much solidified. You got Becton, you got Vera Tucker, and yet you feel confident there as long as they can stay healthy. The center position, Connor McGovern, is interesting because a lot of us, myself included, have kind of discounted him. But again, we don't know what they were playing under, what system they were playing under last year. You know, when the Jets signed Connor McGovern, it was a highly touted move. A lot of people liked the move and gave Joe Douglas credit for it. And now you look back and feel like, now we all think he's kind of not as good as estimated. So the Jets seem to have high hopes for him, and maybe he is a good player, and maybe he is much better in this system. You know, the right side of the line remains to be seen. You know, my personal preference is I hope Cameron Clark comes at us, emerges, and becomes a starter. The goal is to put together a group of guys that can play for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years together. You know, you don't want to keep finding Band-Aids and 1-year stopgaps. I understand you have Greg Van Roten. I understand all these other guys. I'd like to get a nice young guy in there, put him in there, and say, boom, here's your, here you're here for the next 3 years. Obviously, Morgan Moses is the right tackle. You have George Fant as a swing tackle, depth. In case anybody goes down, one of your tackles go down. Becton goes down. That was a solid move. I mean, the Jets want to run the ball, man. You can run the ball behind Moses. You can run the ball behind Becton. It's quality. The offensive line is no doubt much improved. Hopefully, they all can stay healthy. Hopefully, this scheme is offensive line friendly, lineman friendly, where they can maul people and they can establish some kind of identity. I think the last couple of years, we had no idea what the hell the Jets were on offense. They had no identity at all. So if the offensive line sets the tone, they can start mauling people and establishing things. Then you have like, okay, listen, we know what we're going to go into week in and week out. We're going to try to get 170 yards rushing and then throw the ball around. Wide receivers, another group, completely upgraded. Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Keelan Cole. You're bringing back Crowder. I mean, this is probably the most talented overall group. I mean, I remember the Decker and Marshall days, but if you look from 1 to 5 with these Jets receivers, I mean, this is a very, very talented group. Now, I'm not calling this team the Chiefs, but I'm saying from Jets standards, for the shit we've been watching for the last 5, 6 years, this is an excellent group. And there's playmakers that the goal is to get the ball in their hands and get them in space and let them fly. Because a lot of these guys, you have Mims who can fly. I mean, there's a lot of talent here. It's exciting. And they're weapons for Zach Wilson where it's like he don't have to be like, I think at times, Sam Darnold became a one-read quarterback where you're like, you stare at Crowder, then you hope Robbie Anderson's open. It's like 1-2, so 2 reads. But now it's like the Jets have so many explosive options, so many ways to just spread the ball around where it's going to keep defenses off balance and it'll let you feature certain guys. If a guy gets hot, you can keep going to him. If they start to double that guy, then you can go downfield to Davis or Mims or, it's ridiculously exciting. The tight end position is, I guess, if you have some concerns on offense, it's going to be there because you really don't know what you have. Chris Herndon, high expectations, ridiculously inconsistent. It's a contract year for him, so it's make it or break it with the Jets. Hopefully he has a breakout year. Tyler Kroft, I mean, he has decent hands. He's, from the Bills, but we really don't know what he is. Daniel Brown, I know they have the undrafted free agent, Yerboa. I always say his name wrong. But you don't really know what this group is. Do the Jets make a play for Zach Ertz? Do they try to see if anybody gets cut during training camp and bring another guy in? I'm not opposed to anything at this point. The more competition, the better. If you can bring in a legitimate receiving threat at tight end, makes this offense even that much more dynamic, which would be great. But overall, look at this. My expectations for this offense are what? Top 23, top 22 in the NFL, maybe top 20 offense. Much improved. It's going to be, I think it could be very dynamic. It could be interesting. It won't be a weakness of the team that can keep you in games. And I think that's all you can really ask for. In terms, I'm not going to give you any kind of numbers on Zach Wilson or the running backs. I'm not sure if we're going to have a 1,000-yard carry or I think we'll have a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm not really sure who it is. I mean, but it's just, I think you're going to see a lot of improvement, a lot of exciting football, and it's going to be fun to watch again. I think they'll be competitive. And I think it's going to be a strength where the defense isn't going to be on the field 40 minutes a game because they're going to try to run the ball a lot more. So that's a really cool thing. Other than that, I'm excited, man. I cannot wait for training camp. I can't wait for preseason games, to be honest. I just want to see a well-coached team on the field. I want to see us finally take advantage of mismatches where you know a weakness of a defense and you actually go after it and keep doing it until they stop you. And that's something if you watch, like a Mike LaFleur offense, or you watch Kyle Shanahan's offense, this is what they do. You have an identity, you stick to it, and you maximize it, and you go for it. So, I'm not sure if this made any sense. I rambled for almost 10 minutes, but I'm excited. The Jets offense is going to be fun to watch. I cannot wait to see what Zach Wilson can do. It's not going to be perfect. It's not always going to be pretty, but I think it's going to be a lot better than we've been watching. So, Have a good day. I'll probably do defense tomorrow or whenever it is, and we'll talk to you later.